What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content that we have coming out. Now, with this video, we're diving into the death of Doctor Strange. This will be issue number 1, and this is written by Jed MacKay. And I have to say right off the bat that this story is really shaping up to be a lot of fun. This issue 1, this introduction to what if Doctor Strange died? What would happen and what would transpire? Not only that, but what kind of failsafes Doctor Strange has put in place to be able to protect the Earth in case he does die. And with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into issue number 1, we are picking up with Doctor Strange. Steven is resting, he's sleeping in, he's really just getting some extra Z's at the beginning of his day. But throughout this story, we're getting his narration. And that narration, it starts off with telling us about Koschei the Deathless, someone that Doctor Strange has always found himself fascinated with. An individual that comes from Slavic legend. An individual who was immortal, or at least that's how the story goes. And the legend says that he removed a small piece of himself. More specifically, he removed a piece of his soul. And the logic behind this is if nothing can happen to his soul, then he will always remain immortal. There will be no chance of ever dying. And so he took this soul and he locked it away, hiding it inside of a needle, then placing it inside of an egg, and then into a duck, and then into a rabbit, and then into a chest. Taking this chest and hiding it away. And so through this, he achieved immortality. Maybe not how you and I may see what immortality looks like or what we think of it, but at the end of the day, this individual was able to escape death by transferring the soul, or at least a piece of your soul, into something else. By doing this, you have made yourself eternal. You have made yourself live forever. Now we see Doctor Strange, he's getting woke up by bats. He goes downstairs, he does his really daily routine. Bats wanting to actively get Strange up and moving, getting him going out of the house, getting some exercise. That way he stays alive longer. Because at the end of the day, you know, bats may be a ghost, but he doesn't want his friends to end up like him. He wants to keep them living as long as he possibly can. And so he gets Strange up and out of bed. They get ready to go for their daily walk. Going downstairs, he sees Wong. They do their little morning greeting, they eat some breakfast, but Strange, he heads out the door. And all throughout this day, he is thinking about that immortal soul, because this is something that stuck with him since his earliest of ages. A legend that he learned when he was merely a child, something that stuck with him throughout his entire life. And there's tons of stories about Doctor Strange and how he began the Sorcerer Supreme, how his medical career had completely and utterly ended, but we don't really get much of how it began. And Strange himself, he contributes a lot of that to that very legend, because at the end of the day, he wanted to be able to cheat death. Even from the earliest of ages, that's what his goal was, to find that immortality. And so by becoming a surgeon, by being able to do what he does, and so in a roundabout way, he really is cheating death. Maybe not his death, maybe he's not saving his own life, but he is saving the life of those around him. And these are all things that he's contemplating while he's on this walk with bats. Bats being relatively concerned about his health recently. Not really knowing why, but just wanting to make sure that he stays healthy, making sure that he stays alive. But these walks, they can only last so long, because Doctor Strange, he now has a full agenda day after day. He is completely busy. If he's not doing Sorcerer Supreme work, he's back down in the ER. He's back as a surgeon. He's working as a doctor again, having his gift, having those hands again. He's back to doing what he originally wanted to do. But now he's approaching medicine without all of that ego. Being the Sorcerer Supreme really gave him some humility, really an understanding of the bigger picture. And today he saved a life. With a successful surgery, he finds himself taking a break. But during this break, there is an explosion out in the city. And so while he is done with his medical duties, it is time to get to the magical ones. And we see Strange, he suits up and he heads out. Heading out into the city, we have an individual that looks like they are about to overload with power. This person obviously in some kind of agony, in some kind of pain that we just can't understand right now. With the police officers blaring down their guns at him, Doctor Strange makes his approach, and he lets them know that he has this handled. Because at the end of the day, this guy, he doesn't need a bullet in him. What he truly needs is a doctor. And as Doctor Strange approaches, he goes to figure out exactly what is going on. What is wrong with this individual? And tapping into his mind, we find out that his name is Pavel Plotnik. And he confesses to Doctor Strange that he simply wanted the power. Just enough power to be taken seriously. And Pavel lets Doctor Strange know that it is Cinnabis. He has linked himself to the Seven Sons. And right now, it seems like something is going on with that dimension. Something is going on in this celestial concordance. Because all he can hear is screams and death. And so Doctor Strange, he does what he does best. He jumps in and starts performing some magical surgery. And so we see him clamp off the conduit at the base of Mr. Pavel's astral form. And to prevent this power of the Seven Sons going anywhere else, escaping and wreaking havoc, he then cuts all of the remaining off. And just like that, there is yet another life that has been saved today. Now, of course, he definitely wants to dig into this deeper to find out exactly what is going on. But as it stands, Doctor Strange, he's a busy man. He's got appointments around the clock, and so he has to get going. And he tells this guy that he's going to catch up with him later to find out exactly how this power came upon him. Not only that, to find out exactly everything that was happening to him during all of that transpiring. But the other place that he has to be is the Strange Academy. And really, he's telling the children everything that we already know. That the Sorcerer Supreme is more than just an individual that's granted extra magic, that has access to more power than regular magicians. Because the Sorcerer Supreme is part of the planet's natural defense system. Kind of like the world's ozone layer blocking out ultraviolet radiation, the Sorcerer Supreme, it maintains a barrier for all of Earth. And this barrier, it protects all of Earth from all of the other planes. The Dark Dimension, the Celestial Concordance, all of those things. And we know there have been multiple attempts at invasions, but what this spell and this barrier do is protect a mass invasion from happening. Now, of course, this is something that's not perfect. The War of the Realms has proven that that's not necessarily always the case. But nonetheless, it remains vital. It is a huge part of this planet's defense system. And without a Sorcerer Supreme, and without that barrier, the world would be in dire constraints. Now, with class ending, this is where we see Doyle make his way over to Doctor Strange, the child of Dormammu. And Doyle, he's been feeling some weird stuff going on. With him being connected to the Dark Dimension, he can feel that something isn't right. And with this being the second occasion of this happening, it's making Doctor Strange question what is going on. But of course, this is something that he's going to have to set to the side, because Doctor Strange is yet again brought to another area, brought to yet another appointment. But this appointment is a little more violent, and this is where we see him meeting up with Magic, my number one freaking girl. And we are seeing demons flood all over the place. They are attempting to try to kidnap children and offer them up as a sacrifice so they don't get eaten themselves. Of course, Magic and Strange, they are not going to allow this to happen. And we see them beat back all of these demons. With these demons being taken out and defeated, Doctor Strange is yet again pulled in another direction. Because the work of Doctor Strange, it truly is never ending. His responsibilities are never ending. And with all of this going on, with everything that he has to do day in and day out, he thinks back to that immortal legend. Thinking back to it, thinking how it's something he could never find himself doing. Because he questions, if a man doesn't have a soul, can you call yourself alive? And with him relaxing at the end of the night, really just kicking back, trying to have a quiet, very calm night, there is a knock at the door. And as Doctor Strange makes his way over there, he recognizes he has to keep up appearances. Because while Steven, he may be tired, Doctor Strange is never out of energy, never unwilling to help someone. And so getting into character, he opens up that door. And when he opens that door, we simply see a shadowy figure. Doctor Strange appearing to know who this individual is, but calling this arrival very odd. And in an instant, we see the fight break out. Not really sure who he is fighting with. Something is happening here. Something is happening and Doctor Strange is not winning. And as his last moments are approaching him, he can only think about his friends and how he wished that they weren't here because he doesn't want to see them like this. Even if they were here, they wouldn't be able to help him because this is beyond them. And this power arrayed against him, the overwhelming, inconceivable power, it's very familiar to him. And as those last moments come, he can only think that maybe he does want his friends here, only for the selfish reason of not wanting to die alone. And the moment this happened, the world reacted. There was a complete shift in everything. Everybody felt it. Things became very strange. Things started to fail. And with everybody feeling this, we see people coming to his aid, but it is already too late because the deed has been done. Doctor Strange is now dead, lying on the floor with no pulse in his body, a dagger in his chest. Now, his death, it was definitely felt by everyone. And this is where we see Mordo. With him making his entrance, Wong completely emotional, completely distraught, he makes his attack at him. But Dr. Voodoo and the others, they hold him back. And Mordo, he lets us know that this was not him. And right now, he is completely infuriated because he wanted it to be him. He wanted to be the one that killed the Sorcerer Supreme. And someone has taken that from him, and he vows vengeance. And this is when Captain America tries to get in contact with Doctor Strange. With Velma Staten picking up the comms, Captain America is letting us know that there are full-scale invasions going on right now. Because with Doctor Strange dying, the barrier went down. This leaving Earth completely vulnerable to all kinds of attacks. From mass invasion, with the different dimensions putting up base camps all over the world, we're about to see an all-out conflict. We see everybody arguing, everybody fighting, nobody's able to get along, nobody knows what the next course of action is here. And that's going to bring us back to our immortal, an individual who cheated death. Doctor Strange, infatuated with this as a child, now having the powers of Sorcerer Supreme, coming back from the dead is something that he has only ever done one time. When he was much younger, in case he was ever killed in the future, he did something close to creating immortality. And we see a blinding light open up, and we see Doctor Strange walk out of this portal, asking what needs to be done, and what year is it. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This was definitely a lot of fun. We're learning that Doctor Strange, he's put in safeguards. This is the worst case scenario. Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme, gets taken out. The world defenses are dropped. We have multiple dimensions that are now invading. Now, Doctor Strange, he knew that a new Sorcerer Supreme would eventually get picked up, but it's not going to happen instantaneously. And because of that, he's put in these safeguards so he can essentially resurrect himself. And this isn't resurrection like the X-Men or anything like that. This is him manipulating time, using time to his benefit. And so I think it's a very interesting aspect. It's definitely a direction to go. I'm really excited to see how this plays out, really where they're going to go with it. I'm sure Dormammu is going to play some kind of significant role in it. He always does have some kind of role when it comes to Doctor Strange. I think the writing was absolutely top-notch. The way the story was told, along with the narration, it made it very enjoyable. It definitely kept you interested the entire time. On top of that, the artwork is absolutely top-notch stuff. Thoroughly enjoying it. I cannot wait to get more of this story. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you have not yet, do me a favor, hit that sub button. Hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out, and until the next breakdown.